are, and you don't know what you're going to get.
You know, going out there, catching that tailwind, blowing them out, it's probably, 12 miles an hour right now, 14 maybe. And then coming back down the wall here, of course, everyone wants to push it because all these people, these fans are here watching us. We want to, show off just a little bit. And so they're going to come into that wind here, and it's going to be a popping wheelies out there. I'm pretty sure of it.
Well, there was a lot of close racing earlier, but we expected this to be really close. These boats are all evenly matched as we set out initially with the lineup here today. This race start delayed just a bit here because of the disturbance on the course. Fan was doing an exhibition of some sort. I think everyone saw here on the live stream. We want to thank, by the way, our live stream partners here, Stream Beans, and the hard-working guys behind the camera, Keith in the production, and Keith Olson, Peter Olson, Carl Monzone, and Joe Berg, and the entire team here at the Zone, 97.7 Sports Radio, our chief engineer, Randy Perry, also Rick Lopez, and, of course, my broadcast team here, Joey Cook from the Key West Citizen, John J.W. Powell, and Rick Lopez, who we're still trying to teach the finer points of powerboat racing, but he's come along quite a bit. All right. Hey, the Cigarette 50, this is one of the last 2 times we will see this boat.
That's a beautiful boat.
Isn't it? I mean, It is amazing.
You should be running next to it at about 60 miles an hour.
Oh.
About 2 foot away.
My goodness. John Ruiz, president of Cigarette Racing, the American offshore legend. A new 5-year deal with World Offshore to partner with their national series and the World Championships here in Key West. Yellow flag is up. They're going to line these boats up and go, Scott.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think I just realized why we're having a little bit of a delay, and it happens to be one of the crew chief's birthdays today. It's Burgess Hauserman from Play Trades, working for Randy Swears, and he's probably the smallest guy in offshore racing, and he's got the most energy. So happy birthday to you, buddy.
Yeah, he's instigated this delay, apparently, allegedly. All right, yellow flag is up. They're lining the boats up. We're about ready to start. The third day of racing, our second race in the afternoon here. These are the Stupor stock boats. They're a good shot into the cockpit of the 50-foot Cigarette. Trying to line these boats up. They've got to fall in behind Chief Referee Richie Dan Sisson.
Looks like a better start today than it was on Friday. They're lined up pretty good right now.
Can be really difficult to get these guys lined up. And now the green flag is up, and the race is on. Ale Vite.
Excellent start.
Very good.
Coco's Monkey again getting a really good start. He is using his
Gary Ballou coming up the inside.
Yep. LPC in second. Gary Ballou and F&J Propellers. And also Team Allen Lawn Care. This is maybe the best rough water boat, and he is challenging.
He loves this rough water, Billy Allen does.
So
his favorite race.
If there is anything to be said about a rough water race, then Billy Allen's going to try and say it and try and do it, and he is out charging into the front in super stock here as they head out to turn number 1. That's Team Allen Lawn Care, Coco's Monkey, LPC, your top 3 boats heading into the turn of 1. This is the most dangerous part of this course. You get a bunch of boats, all that white water around that first turn, Scott.
Yeah, it's a traffic jam there.
You can see a roller on the TV out there coming in.
Yep.
Watch it there, fellas.
All right, very careful.
There it goes.
Oh, my goodness.
Dadgum, CR Racing.
CR Racing
goes over.
LPC and Allen go into each other. The 2 teams that were there in 2019 go into each other just now, but they look like they're going to be able to go correct.
All right, Play Trades rolled out of it, and they're going to try and keep running. It looks like Allen Lawn Care. Let's see if they're going to swing around.
Yeah. LPC got a hole in the back of the boat.
There was a big collision there.
That wind, you tuck it into that turn, and that wind was not working in their favor.
All right, safety and rescue. This is also going to cause trouble at this turn. They're going to have to try and keep this boat out of the course. There's obviously going to be smoke out there, and we'll see if we'll continue to race here. But we'll continue. That boat now moves behind the turn boat. Let's come to the lead boats, guys, and keep an eye on things and see whether or not the race officials are going to red flag this thing or whether we'll continue racing. Up to this point, here comes your lead boat into Key West Harbor. And that looks like Jackhammer, guys.
It is.
Jackhammer through the mess at turn 1, comes through unscathed, and now leads after lap number 1. Here comes Coco's Monkey running in second. And phase 5, they got back out there, guys, and they're running in third. LPC, they're not running well. Frank and Jimmy's will.
Red flag. It's red flag.
So they red flagged this race. It's probably a smart thing, guys.
Yeah, that's the best idea.
We're not that far into this race.
Right.
And let's just restart this thing.
You know, in my opinion, you know, when I'm driving them boats, I think it's the best idea. If the boat's upside down and there's people in the water, it needs to be stopped. That's my opinion of it.
Well, especially at a juncture like it was the other day, at number 3, and here too. I mean, how do you race around? That? And it's the first lap of the race. I mean, so nobody really got. They're out. That's awesome.
See two helmets there. That's a good show. Good sign.
Excellent. Whew. Boy, one of the good guys there in offshore, and he was charging hard going into that turn, guys.
Play Trades is coming
off.
Play
Trades, yeah. Did they even?
Well, they
were the ones that went into LPC. You think
no,
it was damage
Team Allen.
I thought it was Team Allen too, but it looks like there's some damage to the nose of Play Trades as they come in there.
Yeah, Play Trades got wadded up with somebody, and they were facing us right in front of that yacht there, and somebody turned this way, but Play Trades went the other direction, but they got fouled up together with somebody else other than Allen Lawn Care.
I didn't see any lanes being held in that first turn, according to where I'm sitting on this TV right here. So they're aggressive. These guys are fierce, man. These super stock guys, they are fierce competitors.
Yeah,
Team Allen's back around. They have made it back around the course. It's good to see them.
I don't see any damage to him. A little scratch there on his wrap.
LPC did not look well when it came in, but they may have already idled back a little bit to deal with the to deal with the collision. But we'll have to sort this thing out and see how many boats come back around here and start after this red flag.
I was talking with CR Racing this morning, and those guys said they were going to let it eat. I guess it was more hungry than we expected.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, and again, we just alluded to it, Scott. I mean, how dangerous that turn is. You get several boats across. If you're behind all of that, it's hard to see. I mean, it really is. So things can happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, the best time that you can accelerate is to be the first one at that first turn and get through that before it gets sloppy, because when it gets sloppy, you don't have any traction in the turn. There's too much air in the water.
And going straight down the course, the rooster tails aren't hitting your windshield because you're straight and you're in a line. As soon as those boats turn, those rooster tails take a 45-degree angle, and the first boat is going to get the last boat wet. It's like standing in the shower and staring in the shower head for about 4 or 5 minutes, Not that long, but it's pretty intense, the amount of water that comes off the back of those props.
All right, so unfortunately we have a red flag here. That means the race has been stopped. That means that the boats will be brought back into the milling area here in Key West Harbor, and we will start again. Right now, it appears that the two team members and CR Racing were out and on the boat. Safety and rescue was right on the scene, and we've got to sort this thing out. But we will restart this race, and they will finish the race. So we'll have 9 laps out there instead of 10. So we'll just start from scratch again. There was really no advantage of anybody. You just really realistically had one stretch of about 2 miles that these guys ran, so it'll be a fair start and on the restart. And it looks like the boats
there's a hole in it. From what I've heard, they are taking on some water.
Yeah, they got to get that thing situated and get it under tow. So we'll take a break here, come back with more. We're going to have a restart in super stock under a red flag for the second time this week for the Race World Offshore World Championships. You're listening to live coverage on the Zone 97.7 Sports Radio from the Deep Impact Custom Boats Blackwater broadcast booth and on the Race World Offshore Facebook page live stream.
here from Two Friends, and it's 2021 Powerboat Races time. So when you racers slow down to under 3-digit speeds, come by Two Friends for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When you do, you'll be met with live music 7 days a week, starting at 8:30 a.m. Our People's Choice Award-winning Bloody Marys, our Benedicts, our seafood, and Angus burgers. Even the Marconi Award winner and voice of the Conchs, Ricky El Macho Lopez, is a regular.
Hey, what a play!
So meet your friends or make your friends at Two Friends, a Key West icon since 1886, 512 Front Street, Old Town, or twofriends.com.
It doesn't matter who you are or what you do, you are a target for frivolous lawsuits. At X Insurance, we provide custom personal and commercial liability insurance to eliminate your exposure to these kinds of lawsuits. We do this in part with True Umbrella, a comprehensive X Insurance policy that gives you true peace of mind, knowing that you and your assets are protected 24/7. We offer same-day quotes and solutions, so call us today and let's get that target off your back. For more information, visit xinsurance.com.
We've Got the Keys, your local expert for celebration and event planning, specializing in creative incentive travel and one-of-a-kind events. We love Key West and proudly produce some of your favorite annual festivals, including Fantasy Fest, Taste of Key West, the Key West Songwriters Festival, I Love Stock Island, and the Key Lime Festival. We've Got the Keys takes pride in gathering people together, creating fun and unforgettable events that showcase all that Key West has to offer. Go to we'veGotTheKeys.com. Cheers to your next Key West event.
Catch all the action of the powerboat races at El Maison de Pepe's in Mallory Square. Quench your thirst with one of their homemade mojito specials. Grab a Cuban mix or one of their delicious specials for lunch. Later on, watch the sunset and have dinner and dancing to the tunes of Caribe. No matter what, you'll be right in the middle of it all in the magic, beauty, and charm of Old Havana right here at El Maison de Pepe's in Mallory Square. Preserving Key West Cuban conch history since 1997.
Jack Niles from beautiful Key West in the Florida Keys. We understand you have many options when choosing your next new or used vehicle. Why not buy from the people you already know, like, and trust? Come see Fernando Castillo, David Lito, Randy Roberts, and the rest of our team to help you select your next new ride. The all-new Chevy Tahoe is now available, and our truck supply is increasing daily. Save some money and gain peace of mind with one of our certified pre-owned vehicles. Need to sell your car? We need inventory and will pay top dollar for well-maintained cars and trucks. NilesChevy.com in Key West.
Florida Powerboat Club returns to Key West November 10th through the 15th with the 29th annual Key West Poker Run, presented by Cigarette Racing Team, featuring the most amazing performance boats and 280 poker run teams from around the globe. It all kicks off Thursday at the Key West Poker Run Village at the Conch Republic Seafood Company, and it's free to the public. So come on down to the historic seaport and check out the amazing boats on land and the Poker Run sponsor dock. Live entertainment daily. Put on your poker face and come on down for some fun with the FPC family.
Here's a flashback to 40 years of championship racing.
In the first lap is Al Copeland Sr. in the Popeye Diet Coke Challenger. Following right behind him is Tom Tishry in the Tishry Turbo Eagle. And right behind him is Tim Chizuli in the Maxon. Three superboats running back to back as they head on out for the second lap. Here comes the Seahawk boat. This is the number 20 boat, driven by Willie Falcone. Incredibly, as he is leading the open class right now. Willie Falcone in the Team Seahawk boat is number 1 in the open classification. Right behind him is Ben Kramer in the 41-foot GP state-of-the-art Apache, the US-1 boat. Followed a millisecond behind by Bob Kaiser in the GK system. What a race! It's unbelievable this many boats are this close together and this rough of water off of Key West.
Now, back to coverage of Key West's 40th Anniversary World Championships, produced by World Offshore and presented by Cigarette Racing, the American offshore legend. Cigarette, defining performance since 1969.
They were just watching on the live stream as we come back to our terrestrial feed here in the Florida Keys on the Zone 97.7. Casey Boaz and Rob Utterstall in the safety boat waving to the crowd as they came around. They're okay. That's their boat, CR Racing. It flipped over here in the Super Stock race of the World Offshore Championships, APBA UIM sanctioned event. And that boat is currently under tow, or at least they're trying to get it situated, get it out of the race course. We're in a red flag condition and trying to get this this race restarted. Good to see those guys waving to the crowd, Scott and OK. You know, they had a big turnover there, but safety works out well. These boats unfortunately go over quite a bit, but they seem to come out pretty well in the mix of things.
And from what we're kind of picking up on, it would seem the play traders, the number 33 play traders, somewhere in the incident, took some damage and are taking on water a bit back here in the intermol from what I've heard, as well as it seemed from our vantage point, it would seem that the Team Allen Lawn Care, when LPC went wide around the CR Racing, it turned sideways, almost did a little bit of a spin, and it would seem that Team Allen Lawn Care went into them a little bit. So we might have damage to 3-4 boats, after that little incident.
So it was CR Racing, ex-Insurance, the two-time defending world champion in Superstock class here in Key West, that went over, and there was a chain reaction of events. As you could imagine, one boat goes over, you have to make an adjustment, turn the wheel, and Team Allen banged into LPC that we could see, and that's what we saw.
Correct.
On the camera.
And then and since I've gotten word that Play Traders has been taking on some water supposedly too, and we saw damage to their front nose as they were coming back in towards the intermol here. So those are the 4 that we have word on right now. I'm not sure what significance, damage it is on any of them. If Play Traders is done for the day, not positive. Obviously, the one we can call is CR Racing. Doesn't look like they're getting back out.
Taking quite a bit of time.
Yeah, they're trying to get themselves situated around that boat and try and right it out there, and it's awful hard to see if they're going to pull it in upside down or if they're going to try and get it right side up.
Right now, time is an issue here. Obviously, we have another race going on after us. Right now, the remaining boats that are going to run in a restart situation are sitting in the milling area, motoring around. Are there any concerns, guys, with fuel concerns as we sit here and wait? The longer these guys only put a specific amount of fuel in these boats to race them, so the longer this goes, the more fuel they're burning off.
The experienced racers will have a little extra fuel. And listening to Todd a minute ago, I was sitting here wondering if they were going to start the race over since they didn't even finish a lap. And but I think Todd, you're on the money. If they do this a nine lap race, or they might even abbreviate a little bit more than that.
They might have to. I mean, you still have one more race to go here. It's supposed to start at 2:30, and we're 23 minutes away from that. That thing's not going to get off on time at all.
It looks like they have the CR actually up and towed now. They've got it hooked up and are pulling it back in.
Yeah, they're towing it upside down, which doesn't make a boat racer happy at all.
Not at all.
Especially if they didn't get their battery switch turned off.
This race is going to start. They'll have the same lane position that they started in at the beginning of the race. Rich Stancision said this morning that no matter what happens, the restart will be the same positions that they came out in to begin with.
So the question is, on the restart, will we be doing 9 laps, or will the race officials here abbreviate it further? Something that would be important for us to figure out. My inclination after the red flag and restart on the second race on Friday we'll just pick the race up where it was.
Should be starting pretty soon too. I saw the helicopter take off with the divers back in it. So once they get this into the middle of the course, they'll probably get this show going.
All right, boy, it's unexpected happenings, but that's what goes on here in the World Championships. And we talked about sometimes it goes all wrong at turn number 3. Well, guess what? Sometimes it goes all wrong at turn number 1. If there is a place that it's probably going to happen, Billy and Scott, it's turn 1, because that's where the most boats are all at the same time. Everybody's trying to get to that pin first. You give a mix of boats, especially in a class like this where everybody's evenly matched, and there's a lot of spray, hard to see. If something happens with a boat as it did with CR, you've got to make adjustments, and you may not be a lane for you.
Well, that's right. And in the drivers' meetings, they haven't really specified that you have to maintain your lane around that first buoy. And it's becoming more and more popular in the race clubs to force that issue just for this reason, because, you're just running elbows and everything else trying to get around that turn, and everybody's trying to occupy the same place at the same time, and it never has worked.
Billy, again, tough place to be. Trying to get around there and a bunch of traffic with you.
It is. And when you got one boat in the front, like Alan Lawn Care was out in the front there, it seemed like the rest of those boats on the outside of him, even though he's on the inside line, they were squeezing on him, so he came in behind the buoy most likely, so he had to try to force his way out to get around that buoy or take a penalty by going inside of it. So when that happens and he has no room to move, he squeezes on top of them, everyone pushes over, and really those boats were probably touching when they went into the turn, to be honest with you. And that's what happens down there. Is you got to give the space to make that turn. Those guys are running 100-plus miles an hour. They're hitting that turn, what, Scott, 90?
I would say that's pretty reasonable.
Running into that turn, into it. They'll come out a little slower, but they're going into that thing as hard as they can because, the first one around it is the one that's going to be in the lead. And it's just they get wadded up, and that's what goes on.
Well, when you get one next to you that's pushing and all the testosterone is flowing, you go into that turn faster than you've ever practiced.
Yeah, no one's giving up. They're not giving, like I said yesterday, nobody's giving an inch down there.
Yeah. And the thing is, you don't practice that hard because you don't have a helicopter and a dive crew next to you either. Here is where you let it hang out, and you can overdrive your headlights, and at least there's help right there.
And not to mention that it's the first time they went into that turn, so no one knows what the water's doing down there. Liquid race course, that's the most challenging part of what we do in this deal is this water, every single time we go into that turn for 10 or 12 or 15, however many laps it is, it's a different turn every single time.
Yeah.
It's important to note that the guys got out safely. Again, as we saw on the live stream, Rob Understall and Casey Boaz were okay in the safety boat. And we saw the same thing happen on Friday when the firm V-bottom turned over in Key West Harbor. And I thought that the talk that that team, Richard Garcia and his brother Julian in that boat that they gave to the drivers this morning was it was interesting. Those guys took extra turns going through the dunker test and learning what they're supposed to do, what it feels like to extricate yourself from a turned over boat. And they said that Billy really benefited them.
Absolutely. When we fly down to Lauderdale and do it. We did Sarasota this year, and we train with some guys in the dunker. And same thing. As long as they're going to let us keep going, we keep getting in that thing. Because each time it turns over, again, it's a different situation. And so, those guys did real well. The divers were amazing on that. That turn down there, the same thing happened to Chad and I in 2018 in the exact same spot where the boat rolled out like that. And so I watched the video, and what it looked like to me was that they were on the outside of a boat wake in that turn, and it's more than 180 almost down there because you have to go past that first pin to come back to the second one. And when you get on the edge of that roll on the boat that's in front of you, it just kicks you over, and it's unexpected. And so thank God it was a smooth roll, it looked like. So they got that boat back together. That thing was sunk.
Yep.
They craned it out, pointed bow up, and got it a new motor in it and everything else. And man, that's in 2 days.
Currently under a red flag, a race stoppage because CR Racing is turned over. We're getting ready for a restart. And I was impressed listening to Richard talk about it, how calm he was and waiting for his brother. They both had their air. The divers were right there on it. He said he was looking out of his cockpit upside down at the divers like he was in a fish tank, right? And he was holding the hatch shut because they weren't ready for the water for it to open up and for the water to come in. And it was really interesting. Great job not only by the race crew but also by the safety divers. Yeah.
If the boat doesn't come apart when you roll like that and the lid is still closed on it, you can sit in there for a while with no water. I mean, it's only a few inches deep, and so you're just in there breathing. You're not even on the air sometimes. And then, if they open that hatch too soon, it's going to flood the boat. And so that's the right thing to do is hold it shut until everybody's ready, because whenever those divers grab you, we do it in the pool and we do the dunker, and they're not just grabbing a hold of you and pulling you out. These guys jerk you out of there like you've never been jerked out of anything before. They want you out of that boat. So that was the right thing to do, is get your bearings together. We practice that, and make sure everybody knows what's going on.
Speaking of rollovers and everything, in the V-bottoms, you only have your top opening to come out of, so they have to go to swim out underneath the boat.
Yeah.
And with the catamarans, we've got an escape door on the inside the tunnel, so you can actually come out of a rolled over boat and not even get wet.
Yeah, we bought our regulators and our air tanks in the Levy craft, and that boat, of course, is notorious for being upside down. Thankfully, Chad and I have never gone completely over in it. We got wet one day down here, but we bought the regulators and the tanks, and they came with a 6-foot air hose, and we immediately bought 20-footers. We can swim out of that boat from the lid, which would be the bottom of the boat if it's upside down, and all the way to the surface with our regulators in. So, everyone, I believe, in the V-bottom has the same system.
Yeah, we have the long ones in the cats also.
Yeah.
Thankfully, never had to use it, because we've always gone out the bottom. But
Right.
they're good to have there.
We're looking at CR Racing. They flipped over in turn one at the very start of this super stock race. We're in a red flag on this race, red flag situation where the race course has been shut down, and we're going to be hopefully getting a restart of this event here real soon, but currently waiting to see what happens here. And if it goes as it did on Friday, then we'll pick up the total number of laps that are left, which would be 9 laps here today. But we're currently in a red flag situation. Boat is still there on the infield as we wait for this race to get restarted.
Here we go. They're pulling it up.
All right.
Hey, there you go. Good job.
Now take off. Go.
CR Racing.
Right side up.
Now it's full of water, so they're going to drag it out a little bit.
Speaking of other boats, too, Play Trades is up on the crane behind us in the intermole. They are definitely up on the crane, so it does not seem good for them to get back on the course.
So we know. So we at least have 2 boats less that will start here. Good to see that boat flipped over and now under tow. So hopefully we'll be back underway here shortly. Scott, unfortunately, we're seeing this more and more, especially in this class, Superstock. A lot of boats having trouble. We saw CMR Roofing flip over in Key West Harbor on day 1. Everyone remembers, 3 boats went over in Key West last year. I mean, it is a testament. I've watched a lot of XCAT racing over the years, and you see these boats flipping a lot. A testament to the way they're built and their safety capsules, how the crew come out pretty much unscathed a lot of the time, or all the time.
Well, and that's, when S-Class started, it was 24-foot open cockpit skaters with 200 Mercs on them, and they weren't even running 100 miles an hour, and people were getting killed in them when they would stuff or get out of shape or turn over. So now, some of the top speeds on these boats is over 120 miles an hour, which you won't see on the race course, but testing you will. And these boats are running faster and safer than they ever have. So going over like this, now we're getting up to the threshold of the design, and the speeds are getting fast enough to where now we've got this other issue coming along because the boats are unstable, and that means you're running the class as fast as it can go. And it's the same thing with NASCAR. They are running those things on the ragged edge, and if you're not there, you're not winning. So this is all part of the metamorphosis and the growth of the class. And thankfully, these canopies, these safety systems, and the onboard air and everything, with the harness systems in there, people are coming out lots of times without even a scratch on them.
All right, we've gotten word from the race officials here. This race will now be 7 laps. 7 laps, 32.2 miles.
So they've made provisions for fuel use and the time. To get this over with in time.
Unfortunately, that boat's going to have to go back to the shop. They're going to have to take every single piece of wire out of it, all the electronic equipment. The engine should be okay. They could probably get those flushed and working, but that's a complete rebuild for this boat.
Salt water is not good.
Yeah, if they were in the lake, they'd be fine. Just let it sit and dry out, put some humidifiers in there, just get it all out, and then you can back in business. But this is going to be, they got time. But, hey, it's Key West, and that's what we do. Chad and I come out of the turn on the 3rd lap, 4th lap. No, we were a little farther than that. We're probably lap number 7. And we felt a pretty bad vibration in that fountain. And, we slowed down for a second, and everyone saw that. And we on top started catching up to us. And, it's our last race. We're at Key West. Let's go. So we just took back off, and it finally broke on us on starting that last lap down there. That coupler let go, but we're going to get it fixed, and we're going to go to Inglewood next week and see what we can do over there.
All right, we're in a red flag situation. You see the CR CR Racing X Insurance team under tow after flipping over in turn 1 on the very first lap of today's race. And race officials now saying that they are going to shorten this restart to 7 laps, 32.2 miles. We'll come back. We'll take a break here locally on the Zone 97.7 Sports Radio from the Deep Impact Custom Boats Blackwater broadcast booth. Continuing coverage on Race World Offshore's Facebook page live stream.
For those of you seriously into fishing, you must check out the Ultimate Fishing Machine, the brand new 2022 Blackwater 41 Tournament Edition. Come take a look at this amazing boat on display during race week at the Poker Run Village between the Conch Republic Seafood Company and the A&B Marina docks. Blackwater, famous for its massive range, super soft dry ride, and phenomenal fit and finish, will get you to the fish faster. Blackwater Boats, true craftsmanship beyond comparison. Go to blackwaterboats.com to see all the excitement for the best fishing boat on the market and schedule your sea trial. Or come in a Plantation Boat Mart and Marina, mile marker 90 on the Overseas Highway in Tavernier. Plantation Boat Mart and Marina specialize in customer service and are happy to get you the parts and service you need at your convenience and show you all the amazing Blackwater boats. If you're seriously into fishing, you got to get into the brand new 2022 Blackwater 41 Tournament Edition. Check it out at blackwaterboats.com and get to those fish in style.
After the roar of your boat motor has subsided, but you want to keep your engine running, stop by Fairvilla's Sexy Things Key West, 524 Front Street. Why not keep that excitement in your day? Fairvilla Sexy Things is your intimacy and wellness resource. Plus, they have the sexiest lingerie, the best party supplies, and all your bedroom necessities, sure to keep you revved up and ready for action. For store locations and online shopping, Fairvilla.com. In Key West, every day can be a winner for you at Fairvilla Sexy Things.
Looking for a good place to cheer your favorite team, listen to great live music, or simply feed your inner hunger with fantastic food? We'll get to the Sandbar, 511 Green Street, offering daily food and drink specials. Happy hour Monday through Friday from noon till 4. Live music and plenty of TVs to catch all the sports action. Home of the 3-pound burrito challenge and fish taco with an excellent late night menu. Check out daily specials at sandbarkeywest.com. Sandbar Sports Grill, 511 Green Street in Key West. Give them a call, 305-916-5530.
Truly, there's a reason Pepe's is the oldest eatery in the Florida Keys, and only the second oldest in Florida. Missed it by 4 years. Everything fresh and nothing fried. Juices are fresh squeezed. Daily homemade breads and pies. Oysters shucked to order. Exemplary breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A historical gathering place for locals and visitors. Pepe's Cafe, from 1909 to this beautiful day in Old Town Key West. 806 Caroline Street, facing the historic Key West Bight.
Here's a flashback to 40 years of championship racing.
At the 1993 Key West World Championships, the fastest boat of the week was a V-bottom, the Apache Heritage. The team had been put together by Swiss investor Omar Daniel, along with Philip Mercurio, an European Apache dealer. They hired the great throttleman Richie Powers to put together a 47 Apache. It's powered with 3 1,000 horsepower supercharged engines. It was each engine equivalent to 2 NASCAR engines of the day. For Powers, a multi-time UIM Class 1 world champion of the 70s, the legendary throttleman and crew chief called this a crowning achievement.
That's probably 2 of the best years of my racing career. I suggested to Mark McManus, why don't we build a trip-down V-bottom? And Mark looked at me and said, you know what? He says, I've always wanted to do that. And so I said, well, it certainly can't hit harder than the 50-foot catamaran in 6 to 8. I said, yeah, this thing will be a breeze once you strap yourself into it and wear it like a boat.
It was also back-to-back world championships for Apache Heritage, 92 and 93 in the unlimited superboat category. And in that final race, they took the checkered flag in Key West Harbor almost 6 minutes ahead of the rest of the field.
Now back to the Deep Impact Custom Boats Blackwater broadcast booth on the Zone 97.7 Sports Radio. 7.7.
And we are back at the historic waterfront Park, Truman Waterfront Park. Live coverage here on the Zone 97.7 Sports Radio and at the Race World Offshore Facebook page. For those of you on the live stream, while we were in our local break here, we saw the CR Racing X Insurance boat being towed in to the pits to be craned out. And it seemed like forever that it was out there getting situated, turned over, and able to be towed back in. But that will open things up now for this race to start again. And it just it dawned on me that as that boat was passing by and sustaining all that damage, it's very nice to have a sponsor named X Insurance, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll get any coverage out of that one here.
That actually, a joke was given to me by Rick Lopez. I have to give him props. Thank you. It's probably not good to be joking about things like that. I'm sure Casey Boaz and Rob Undersaw aren't laughing, and nor are some other teams that got busted up. But that's racing, unfortunately, guys. Billy Shipley, Team Woody, and Scott Porte from Porte Marine Products joins us, and also Joey Cook from the Key West Citizen. I'm Todd Swafford. You know, Scott, we were talking about how hard Casey Boaz and Rob Undersaw work on that boat. They're the two-time defending world champions, and it's been a rough week for them.
Well, I agree. You know, they started out and first day broke a couple of propeller shafts and had to change gear cases, and they did all right their second day, but they needed to make something happen today, and it just, they got bit in the corner. But those guys, you know, we were talking a minute ago, those guys and Sean Torrente and there's probably a couple of others, these guys are relentless in the pursuit of every little piece of speed they can find, and as a consequence, they're working on the boats all the time, and they're testing and they're testing and they're testing. And you know, CR is from up at Lake of the Ozarks, and they've got that thing in the lake, and they've got buoys set, and they're running around those things, and you know, they are coming here with their A game. And so there's a few of the top boats that are really spending the time, and you know, there's a lot of the guys, they just come with their setup and they race and they go home. And but these guys are relentless.
And a red flag here at the 2021 Key West World Championship races. We're going to have a restart here shortly. Now that CR Racing is back into the hot pits, and we will race 7 laps here, 32.2 miles an hour. We still have one race to go, and race officials also noting that it will be a complete restart. The positions the boats were in when the race was stopped won't be recognized. We will start. Now, when we had a red flag and restart on Friday, the teams still held their positions. But because this course was only one leg in, we will start from scratch, so nobody has any standing heading into this restart.
Richie talked about that a little bit at the drivers' meeting this morning. He said it's very hard for us to tell where you guys were when the red flag goes up, and not everybody sees it at the same time, so not everybody stops. And so he just said, hey, we're going to go back to the start order that starts out at the beginning.
Right. It was more of an issue, certainly because that race was like halfway done, and there was a couple of boats that had pretty good leads going. But again, very difficult, especially when you're 2 miles between a checkpoint, and so they started them from scratch. And as it turned out, Joey, it all kind of fell into place. It did work out the same way.
Yeah, early on we saw We on Top actually that was leading that race fall behind, but eventually they had the right setup that day, and they were able to pull by to take that win there by our good friend here. But, you know, it balanced it out eventually. And, yes, that it worked out. This one, I agree with you wholeheartedly. We barely got to see this race. Some of these teams, we don't even know where they started. The team that I will say that's going to benefit for this are guys that had really slow starts. Your storage unit didn't get off to a plane at all. Granted, they're not much in the World Championship hunt, but this benefits them. The other team that it does benefit that we noted were way behind coming around that first lap and was the Performance Boat Center. They got squeezed out something hot up there. They were one of the about seven coming back around the start-finish, but by that point, things had been red flagged already, so you don't know what he's thinking at that point. Just get it back to the milling area. So it's with this type of classes, this many boats going out at the water at the same time, it could have really made a big difference 6 laps in. Right now, I think it's the right move to do. Just shorten it and let's go re-race it again.
something to consider. We talked about fuel considerations. I mean, and obviously now these boats are really going to be burning down on fuel. You know, in all classes, you kind of hope to fall into your setup as the race goes on, that you burn fuel off and the boat falls into its setup. Here today, I mean, these boats could be running on fumes by the time they get back in.
Well, and they only put about 12 or 13 gallons in today for this race, each side. And those motors sip fuel. But idling around and, idling all the way across the race course, idling requires a lot of fuel in a fuel-injected motor as opposed to a carbureted motor. And a carbureted motor can idle and just sip fuel, but idling in a fuel-injected motor, it does put away some fuel. So they made the provision by dropping it down to 7 laps with that in mind, I think.
Well, while we're in this race stoppage, red flag underway. We're going to restart this stock race after the CR Racing boat flipped at turn 1. 7 laps, 32.2 miles. Let's thank all of the race teams for coming to Key West. Let's thank all of the poker run teams. 280 poker run boats show up. That's just registered poker run boats with Florida Powerboat Club's Florida Poker Run here in Key West. And there's even more boats than that in town. I don't know where we put them. You know, I mean, you got look at Team Woody here. You got Billy Shipley here. These guys bring 3 boats to town. Great great show here in Key West. 50 boats roughly racing here today. All the participants that show up here with their teams or families or friends, the manufacturers that show up to the Florida Powerboat Club's Poker Run, Stu Jones, doing one hell of a job. Again, the 25th year roughly that he's done. He's been doing it for almost a quarter of a century in this 40th anniversary event. This is a great show, isn't it, Billy?
It is. It's a hard show to go this many races in 1 week. I don't know if you drove around the pits yesterday or not, but Wicks had their engine apart. They broke a valve in their engine, so they had to put a head off of another engine on there. Papamigos, a Class 5 boat, they had an engine brought down from Fort Lauderdale. They switched their engine in the parking lot. Simmons had to change an engine from his Octane boat to his Phantom, 34 Phantom. The WHM changed 2 engines. We had engine problems. We on top, Brian Cole, hats off to that guy. He lives at home with us in Texas and a good friend of ours. And this is his first year to race, and he's doing a really, really good job with it. He had 2 broken props. He had a broken skeg yesterday, got all that fixed. He's back in the water. I think he came out in second.
He came out in second. Yeah, he took you guys actually by a point, I believe.
Yeah, he sure did. And good for him. Hats off to them guys. Wicks, those guys, they were out there till late last night. I finally heard their motor start up, I think, when I was in bed. But, they came out and put on a good show, and they got us. We broke a coupler in that last race on the next to the last lap there. So, it's hard on this equipment. CR, I mean, all these problems. CMR had to rebuild their boat. They get ready. It's crazy.
Yeah, Scott is somebody who's raced and works in the boating industry. Boy, this is quite an exhibition here, Powerboat Race Week.
Well, it is, and they call this stock class for for these 32 cats, but when you race prepare a stock motor, there's a tremendous amount of bulletproofing that goes into it, and stuff breaks that never ever breaks on a service motor, just a pleasure boat motor. And over the years, you learn these stopgap methods, and pretty soon you have yourself a pretty bulletproof rig, and you come out here and you can run confidently that you've done everything you can, and you're still going to break stuff.
Roderick said in the meeting this morning, he was talking, he said that we have all year to prepare for Key West, and our equipment, we get here, and a lot of things are broken, but it's because we break them here. It's a hard year on this stuff, and it blows my mind how we can sit at home and we can order parts, and they're 2 weeks, 3 weeks, delay. But when we're in Key West, it's like magic happens. Like ninja parts fall out of the sky. We just have where do these parts come from while we're at home, And we're able to get things going. There might be some duct tape and some baling wire and some stuff in there, zip ties, but we get running.
They're burning up that road between here and Miami, running up and down in the middle of the night, getting parts down here.
A couple years ago, JD Ives in the Yabba Dabba Doo boat, he Ubered a coupler down here from Miami. I don't know what he paid for that trip, but they Ubered that thing down to him, and he pulled the motor in the parking lot and got it going.
That's a story. That's almost like a fishing story. we see Team Allen Lawn Care, the hatch open. You didn't even think about that. Getting a little bit toasty
it's
in
hot
there.
Out there.
Yeah, I bet. And we're sitting in there waiting to go, and this is a little bit longer, than the race would have taken, and now you got to go out and race again. Still, we're in a red flag situation, getting ready for a restart, and we fingers crossed this is going to get going here soon. The restart will be fresh. It will be 7 laps. We're down to, at least 10 boats, maybe less. I'm not 100% sure. We'll find out here shortly. But again, this race, you can follow it online with telemetry, watching the boats go around the course. And we're going to be, we know one boat that doesn't have any more telemetry, and that's CR Racing, because they went upside down. But at APBAviewer.com, follow the boats. You can see their speeds and where they are on the course off of Key West. Again, at APBAviewer.com.
Todd, speaking of being hot in that canopy, the first race we come around in that Team Woody Levy craft, and about 5 laps into it, it started getting real foggy in there. And coming down the wall here, we have our spotter giving us some hand signals, and I couldn't see them. I was wiping the window off. I don't know if you saw me coming by doing that. But I started to put some hearts on there or something. But I didn't know what they look like in the bump out there, So it gets pretty toasty in there. And we don't have any air conditioning. We have some little blower fans, and all they're blowing on us is hot air. So it gets a little bit fogged up.
You were talking about those guys in the milling area. So think about what's going on with these guys. They are amped up because they've already had their start, and then they've had that train wreck in the corner, and their hearts are still beating, their adrenaline's still going, and their feet are probably squirming around. They're squirming in those seats, and they just got to get this race going.
All right, well, we've just got word that they're just getting ready to restart, so we should see the Cigarette, the 50-foot pace boat come forward, and here it is. Yellow flag is up. They're going to line them up and start them again. So the red flag restart is ready to go. 7 laps here, super stock racing. Let's hope things go better in turn 1 this time. So he's going to line them up, try and get an idea of how many boats we have out there. We know we're down 2. Play Trade's out. CR Racing flipped over. There's LPC. They look like they're doing okay. Look like they got banged into by Team Allen Lawn Care. Both those boats are out and running. Still only see 1 boat here on the live stream. Now they're coming into the screen. All right, we're going to get our second start here in Superstock. Final day of racing of the 2020 World Championships. Here in front of the crowds in Key West, Florida. You got 10 boats here, Joey?
I got 10 on the restart.
All right, and we wait for the green flag.
They're green, I believe. Yeah, they're going.
It's underway.
That was a bad start.
Yeah, that was such a shame having them lose it in the corner, because that was the best start of the whole week.
It was.
Look, CMR is running a little slow out there. They've got some saltwater gremlins in their electrical system.
Team Allen Lawn Care charged out to the front early in the other start, and he does again.
He'll start moving over to the right this time and give himself some room on this turn.
It's getting a little bumpy out there.
Yep.
It is. The tide is rolling in now. It's going against the wind, and we'll see it on the increase as this race progresses. So heading to turn 1. This is where it went all wrong before. Fingers crossed, everybody.
Getting upwards of speeds of 109 out there headed towards that first turn.
Hard to make those boats out.
I think that's Coco's Monkey on the inside, or it's Jackhammer.
Jackhammer, and then
I think it's Coco's Monkey.
Oh, LPC's there.
LPC there, yep.
Look at that acceleration in
what
that
turn.
That was a great turn. And Jackhammer also in the mix. Our lead boats heading towards turn number 2. This race is underway. That was a clean turn through 1. Racing is on for the Super Stock World Championship here in Key West. APBA and UIM World Championships presented by Race World Offshore.
Jackhammer out front.
Jackhammer, LPC out front. Lawn Care right behind them.
This 30-foot victory hole is...
Uh-oh, got a little squirrely.
He did. He had a double...
Turning into the wind.
Yeah, turning into the wind. He had to double check his position and just gets around that pin.
So that wind's running straight down those tunnels now. And these guys got to be on their trim game.
Able to keep them in the water here now.
They're looking good. That's flat down there.
It is.
All right, guys, this is going to be a lot of action. A lot of boats all within 5 to 10 seconds of each other.
Ricky Maldonado in the Jackhammer boat, he was just in the We on Top boat with Brian.
Jackhammer, your early leader, a victory hole, followed by LPC in second. Team Allen Lawn Care in third. Coco's Monkey in fourth, and Performance Boat Center in fifth.
FJ is just getting hosed down.
Heading into turn number 3 in Key West Harbor.
See if Sean Connor's got the same turn on here as he did on Friday. Look at that spray. That's what you see in the windshield when you're in a turn.
Imagine what they're seeing in those boats, like Billy says. My goodness.
CMR has come off a plane and is in the inside of the infield now.
Tough week for Sean Torrente and Eric Belisle. Following these boats on the back stretch, Jackhammer with the early lead. So we look at your storage units, the old Shadow Pirate boat.
Yeah, they're running good.
Yeah, now the driver in that boat, it's his, I'm not sure if it's John's son, but it's his first day behind the wheel.
Oh, it is. Today's his first time. Wow.
New driver, brand new driver.
And they just bought that boat, too.
Yeah.
Reese Langham, Ricky Maldonado, 30 victory. Jackhammer in the early lead. There goes CMR Roofing, APBA National High Points champion. Turned that boat over on the first day, and it's just not going to be the same for them.
Performance Boat Center running that thing 111 miles an hour.
All right, looking back out to turn number 1. There's Jackhammer going around the pin. In control right now. Out in front of the course. Now, this is not where Performance Boat Center wants to see these guys. Jackhammer.
It would be Jackhammer's title right now to hold on to, and actually Performance Boat Center would be third on the podium, as LPC would be second right now.
That's with the Performance Boat Center finishing second. So they don't want Jackhammer in front of them at all. Jackhammer negotiates the turn well. LPC running in second.
They have got a smooth course out there. Now, that's rare.
Yeah, it is. It is very rare. It was bumpier than that in the second race. It's like it laid down.
So Jackhammer moving towards Fort Zachary Taylor, driving eastbound here on the south leg. This is a 4.5-mile course. Jackhammer coming around turn number 2. Back in front of the crowd here at the historic Truman Waterfront. LPC right behind him.
Here he's going, cutting the corner.
You see him skate that thing around
I
there?
did. Oh my goodness. Got it around the pin.
They took that turn about 88 miles an hour. Whew. That's tight at 88, Scott.
Especially turning into the wind.
Yep.
A 40-foot victory leading a 32 Doug Wright here after lap number 2 in the super stock class. That's Jackhammer. And LPC running 1-2. Jackhammer, your early leader. LPC in second. Heading in towards the turn at 3. Performance Boat Center in third. Team Allen Lawn Care in fourth.
He can't see anything. That rooster tail.
And Coco's Monkey back to fifth. F&J, Frank and Jimmy's Propellers in sixth. Phase 5 running 7th. Curry Refrigeration in 8th. But Jackhammer continues to lead. 2 of 7 laps in the books. Red flag shortened race here after CR Racing went over in the first start. Boats going around the north turn here in Key West Harbor. We'll follow the leader. Coming out, Jackhammer. 40-foot victory hole. This boat has really been coming on. 30, I'm sorry. 30-foot victory hole. The victory has really been coming on, Scott.
Yeah.
LPC, another team that's really, both these guys have been up and coming this year.
They're holding that lead. If they don't make a mistake, they'll be okay. But it looks like they're keeping the same distance there.
Yeah, they're about a couple seconds ahead.
Yep.
LPC's not going to cut him a bit of slack.
Not at all. He'll start losing some weight with that fuel, and he might get a little faster. Hopefully, Jackhammer's got those props on, too.
Right now, Performance Boat Center running back in third, Joey.
Yeah, they're all running about 108 to 110. Performance Boat Center on this back straightaway has gone 110 straight out there, the fastest on this stretch right now.
Back to turn number 1. Jackhammer will go around. LPC in second.
Well,
Jackhammer continuing to lead. It really is. We're expecting, as the tide starts running into the harbor and stacking up against the northerly wind, that maybe you'll see some action at turn number 2 in front of Ford Zachary Taylor, but that's yet to materialize. It could during the course of this race. Jackhammer approaching Ford Zachary Taylor. Now coming around the pin, maintains his lead. Heading in after lap number 3. LPC going a little wide on that turn. Now Performance Boat Center has shortened the gap at 3rd.
That's the battle for the podium right there. They've been the podium pretty much all week, those 3 boats.
Here's Jackhammer, the 30-foot victory hull. Continuing the lead Superstock class after lap number 3 of 7. Reese Langham and Ricky Monaldo. LPC in 2nd.
Here comes Myrick and
let's see what Lauren does in this turn here.
Performance Boat Center in 3rd. Team Allen Lawn Care in 4th.
Now Lawn Care looks good. I think they had a fuel line come loose on them yesterday.
Coco's Monkey running in 5th.
Something so simple, take you out, you know.
Phase 5, 6th.
Lots of 25% parts have ruined races.
Absolutely.
So we're 3 laps into this 7-lap restart. Curry Refrigeration holding 7th now. Frank and Jimmy's Propellers falls back to 8th.
Looks like LPC's closing up on Jackhammer a little bit. We'll see how they accelerate out of the turn.
So Jackhammer coming in front of Sunset Key here in Key West Harbor.
Was that 3 laps?
3 laps in the books. They're heading out for their 4th.
You know, this is exactly how Jackhammer wanted this to play out in order to get a world championship right here. They couldn't have worked out any better right now. These boats hold where they are. They are your world champs ahead of that Performance Boat Center. But if Performance Boats can make a run on LPC, then Performance Boats would get back into your world championship picture there.
And
so
they're
this is really
gap.
crazy. These top 3 boats, any way they split here, it would be a national championship.
And they are sneaking up on them right now, getting real close.
Right now, Jackhammer needs LPC to stay between them and Performance Boat Center. We're just at about the halfway point of this race. A restart after the red flag after CR Racing went over in turn number 1 in the first start. 7 laps. This has been shortened down to 7 laps here in the red flag restart. And we see our leaders coming down. You've got Jackhammer, LPC, and Performance Boat Center left to right on your screen. Jackhammer now approaching again the turn to head northbound into the chute into the harbor here.
Your storage units is running in the back there, but being new in that boat, the attitude of that thing looks really good right now, Scott.
Yeah, we spent a little time together yesterday afternoon, and you know, one of the secrets about that boat is when you lay that thing down, it gains about 4 miles an hour, and it gets easy to drive, and it's like it's on rails, and so it looks like they might be just doing a little bit of that.
Yeah, guys, LPC really cut that turn tight. They're coming up on Jackhammer here in Key West Harbor in front of the fans at the end of lap number 4.
Jackhammer's moving over. He's not going to let him get in front beside him.
Sir. No, sir. Jackhammer continued to hold that lead, but they did cut the distance down. Nice move by Sean Connor and Lauren Peters.
And here comes Performance Boat. 112 miles per hour down that straightaway for Performance Boat Center to cut into that lead there.
They're losing weight and getting faster.
Performance Boat Center moves to the outside. There comes Team Allen Lawn Care. They'll come into your picture. They're running in 4th. They're focusing on the
115 for Performance Boat Center now.
On turn 3, Key West Harbor. Looking back, Coco's Monkey running in 5th, phase 5 and 6. Been a really team over. LPC has gone over in Key West Harbor.
Turned it too fast.
Oh goodness.
And that's not good for
LPC for sure, but
that's not good for Jackhammer either. That opens the door back for a Performance Boat Center to go run away with this title by a good 9 points or so.
All right, guys. I mean, this is our second incident here.
And, you know, they've been aggressive. LPC's been aggressive about turning that boat hard in the turns, and it gave them a pretty good shot around plate trades the other day. And you could see in each of the turns they were pushing it to try and make that time up by going less distance. And it's a shame it bit them.
Guys, let's go back to LPC.
There's the helmets. You see one orange helmet.
There's one. There's a diver on.
We'll see if they red flag this part of the race, trying to get some perspective exactly where this is.
I see two orange helmets now. Two orange helmets. They're giving a signal.
All right.
They're both up on the boat right now.
For those of you on TV, you see the diver hitting his head on the top like that. That tells him everything's good in there and we're okay.
All right, so both Lauren Peters and Sean Connor are out of the boat. And this is our second turnover here in Super Stock class here today. We already have one red flag start. And
we do 4 laps there?
Yeah, we got four laps in the books.
Yeah. Still yellow flags up.
So yellow flags. We're still racing. At this point, they're going to try and continue this race. Right now, Jackhammer has the lead. Performance Boat Center in second.
But in the overall run, Performance Boat Center is now in the championship chair.
Just got to hold on to second place overall.
Here's the towboat.
LPC needed to be the boat in between Jackhammer and Performance Boat Center in order for Jackhammer to win the championship here today. Back out towards the outer leg of the course. And
pretty picture, isn't it?
Yep, here comes Jackhammer. It's lap number 5, Performance Boat Center. I know we're focusing on the live stream on the LPC team being flipped over, but here on the terrestrial broadcast, we're following the boats in front of us now, going back to them as they head down to the turn. See how these guys are going to negotiate that area.
Looks like they're in the middle of the course.
That's good.
They're still able to make that turn.
So
this actually opens the door for Coco's Monkey to end up on the podium.
How about that? So Coco's Monkey.
Although they need to hold in front of Phase 5. That's not a good move there for Coco's Monkey. They need to be in front of Phase 5 there in order to hold that spot.
So Team Allen Lawn Care third, Coco's Monkey fourth, Phase 5 fifth. Is that what you got, Joey?
Yeah, that's what I have right now. So Coco's Monkey, yeah. Well, actually, Phase 5 just came in front of Coco's Monkey just now.
They just passed them right here in front of Key West Harbor. Curry Refrigeration is running in 6th. Looking back out.
Although Performance Boat Center can keep that lead, Fast Fuel Systems, they can stay in the lead as far as the World Championships in position number 2. I'm going to tell you right now that Mark and Rusty are not going to stop trying to get that first place in this race. They are still going to chase them down and still try to pass them out there.
All right, so that means we have some interest here. That second may not be good enough for them, although it will win them the World Championship. There's Jackhammer, your overall leader. Performance Boat Center running in second. That's them coming into the picture. We have a boat over at turn number 3 on the north end of the course. That's LPC, second boat to turn over in this super stock race here today.
Jackhammer's led this entire race, haven't they?
Yes, they have. They had a good start in the other.
Both starts,
race.
yes, they did. Yeah. They got through that clean. They were the first one through clean water around that first turn, and then everybody else got caught up behind them.
There they are going west to east, heading down towards turn number 2. That's Jackhammer on the left of your screen, Performance Boat Center on the right, running 1 and 2. And again, boats really being able to stay in the water, so we haven't seen any effect of the wind against the tide right now. Again, a little dig in and just stay to the outside of that turn. Nice turn for Performance Boat Center.
Yeah, they're going to let it eat.
They got a little hook in there coming around there.
Here you go. Here's your number 1 and number 2 boat, Performance Boat Center, trying to narrow the margin coming in here to Key West Harbor. That's a victory hole on the right, a dug right on the left.
Yeah, they're gonna run some big numbers on this pass here. This is going to be
110, 111 Performance Boat Center.
Got up to 115 last time they came through this pass.
112. Jackhammer's running 110.
There goes Jackhammer. And Performance Boat Center Fast Diesel Fuel Systems.
112 miles an hour when he passed us.
And we're watching that on APBAviewer.com.
So it appears that Performance Boat Center may have a little bit taller props on there than Jackhammer, so they're not accelerating as well. But when they really get rolling, they start making a few more miles an hour. But it's not enough to get them by them in the stretch. They got a turn coming up, and then they got to go through the same thing again.
They got 114 and some changes before the turn. I think they're catching that wind coming out of the harbor here by the crane.
Team Allen Lawn Care third. There's Phase 5 running in fourth. And Coco's Monkey running in fifth.
I stand corrected. The last time, the fifth place is still good enough for Coco's Monkey to in third on the podium for the World Championship.
What a big day that'll be for them here in Key West, and the smallest boat in the field, a 28 wicket.
Yeah, and Todd DePhillips built that boat himself.
I was talking to him this morning about how wide they were going yesterday out there on turn number 2, and he said they were doing that on purpose because the closer they got to the shore, the smoother the water got for him, and he was able to maintain that speed over there.
Looking again at the LPC team that flipped over in Key West Harbor here on the second start, or the restart. Jackhammer is your overall leader in this race. And this is the last, is this the last lap, Joey?
This is the last lap here, yes.
Yep, this will be the last lap. Jackhammer looks like they're going to be in a pretty good position here. I don't think Performance Boat Center is going to be able to make up this gap.
It's not going to make a difference for the World Championship overall, though.
But, you know, it's very possible, even though those guys are on their game, they might not know the positioning where they are they might not know it's first place for them. And because the point system is difficult to follow on
With
this.
this 12 boats is a lot different, yep.
There's your potential world champion running second right now, Performance Boat Center Fast Diesel Fuel Systems. This is a rock-solid boat. Ever since Performance Boat Center has been racing super stock, they've been on the podium. And today, a second-place finish will win the 3-day World Championship here in Key West. That's the boat on the right, Performance Boat Center Fast Diesel Fuel Systems. Running second, right there behind Jackhammer. Coming into the turn, the 30-foot Victory continues to lead. Reese Langham and Ricky Maldonado. There's Fast Diesel Fuel Systems, Performance Boat Center turning behind them. This will be your finish in super stock. What a race to get here. 2 boats flipped over. 2 starts. Jackhammer, the victory hole, will take the checkered flag here today. But the World Championship will go to your number 2 boat behind them, Performance Boat Center. Myrick Coyle and Rusty Williams will win the World Championship. Jackhammer, what a race today. Performance Boat Center Fast Diesel Fuel Systems, they're your world champions for 2021 in Key West. And the third place today will go to Team Allen Lawn Care. One of the really great guys in this sport, Billy Allen.
He had the biggest grin on his face today, thinking it was going to be big out here. He was really looking forward to it because that's his edge.
He loves that water.
Phase 5 will finish up in 4th place here today. Coco's Monkey, should they maintain their position, should finish up in 5th.
But third on the podium by 4 points over the LPC.
That's awesome.
Yep, there's Coco's Monkey. That is a David versus Goliath story for Todd DePhillips, the smallest boat in the field. A 28 wicket boat that he's designed and built will end up on the podium in the 3-day World Championship.
So you got Performance Boat Center first. Who's second?
Jackhammer
comes second. Yep.
Okay.
And third on the podium is going to be Coco's Monkey.
Yeah, very good.
There's local favorite Ryan Beckley and the Curry Refrigeration team. Kid that grew up in Key West. Finishes up in 6th today.
That your storage units boat, they are running that boat totally different than it has been running the past 2 days or the 2 races. So they've got a little more seat time in it and a little more comfortable with it. And that they're going to do better out here this next year.
And our second victory hole to finish here today.
Doesn't hurt that you went over there and coached them a little bit, Scott. You know, all your experience in that thing and those multiple world championships you won in there. So
yeah, that's F&J Propellers, Frank and Jimmy's, Gary Ballou.
I've called every person I know that's owned that fountain that Chad and I have, trying to get some some secrets out of them, and they talk to us all the time about it.
Yeah, well, it's the thing that's neat is when you learn stuff and you can share it with people who appreciate it. It's fun, and there's a lot of these guys that help each other with tricks. They'll hand each other propellers and give them ideas, and when they start getting close to you, you kind of shut down a little bit and
That's
go,
right. I told you enough.
Looking at the cigarette pace boat, getting ready to hand the checkered flag over to Jackhammer. Finished first here today, and they've been right on. They've been close to the podium every day out here this week. A fourth and a second, and now a first. They'll end up on the podium for the World Championship, second overall here this
There's
week.
Ricky with the Puerto Rican flag.
Yeah. Ricky Baldonado and Reese Langham, look at him, very happy today. The overall winner in this race final, a lot of drama as CR Racing went over and the first start at turn number 1 ended up forcing a restart in a shortened race at 7 laps.
Yeah, that's such a great pair. Reese is just an easygoing, laid-back guy, and Ricky is just a little ball of fire. He's a Puerto Rican.
He is full throttle, man.
And he's proud of it, and God bless him for that.
Good for them.
Yep. They spent a lot of time on that boat getting that thing together, and after their flip here last time we raced.
They have paid their dues.
Yes, sir. They've earned it.